we go. Here, I'll grab this for you. James will be here. Claudia, right in the middle. There you go. I got the mic. Yeah, you got it. There you go. First of all, I'm honored to be talking about this film. I think it's one of the greatest films of all time. It's also one of the movies that I don't think I ever will remake. Would you guys agree? That's right. Really, it's perfect. It's like a perfect movie. Here you go, sir. That's for you.
Oh, look, that's us.
That is you guys. Yes. Guys, can you believe it's been 40 years since Back to the Future, and look, new audiences are discovering it, and the legacy just continues to grow larger and larger. Did you think that we'd be here talking about Back to the Future 40 years later?
Did you think that we'd be here talking about Back to the Future 40 years later?
No?
Did you think that we would be talking about Back to the Future 40 years later? I'm the translator.
She is the translator. Claudia's going to get a moderator. You're going to be a moderator after this whole experience, I feel like. But
I've always wanted to be a newscaster or have a talk show.
Really?
Yes.
I should just leave the stage and let you take it over.
No, go ahead, it's okay.
Now, yeah, so 40 years ago, when did it dawn on you guys that we're making something special?
I don't know. I remember I was talking.
And it did, and 40 years later, it's still running.
It's not.
Did you know it was going to be such a famous movie when you were doing it? And when did you think about it?
Of course I knew that. I knew it was going to be a great hit before I say anything. Any slackers out there? No, nobody knew. It was all the planets were aligned for this movie to be still existing and still a powerful force in the business.
I didn't know until maybe 10 years ago when I started doing Comic-Cons and saw the crowds and how lovely everyone is online and also in person. I think that God kissed the movie because that kind of thing, everyone says it's a perfect movie and you've got these legend actors who are so good. But I think in order for it to have transcended into what it's become, I think God personally kissed it.
Yeah, it's not just the perfect movie, but it's in pop culture in just an incredible way. Like, it's everywhere in pop culture. To the point where Universal Studios has Fan Fest nights. I think tonight was last night. They had the Fan Fest night where there was like an immersive Back to the Future
I was
screen.
there May 10.
Did you?
Yeah, Fan Fest at Universal Studios, and they had the whole band with the blue stringy things, the Martin Berry band.
Being at the Fan Fest, did that bring back memories like walking onto the set? Because it is quite an immersive experience.
Well, I hadn't been to the clock tower in a while, but you know what I was so honored about? People knew my actual name, and they'd go, Claudia Wells, Claudia Wells. And I'm so used to Jennifer Parker. So I was that just tickled people.
It's incredible. I love that. Like, I think movies like Back to the Future just aren't made like that. It's not the same. I think Robert Zemeckis is a master storyteller. It's absolutely incredible. Can you guys all share your experience working with Robert on that film?
What was that?
Robert Zemeckis, working with Robert Zemeckis on Back to the Future. He's an incredible storyteller. Go to the morning with him.
I love him. He's just got a grasp of everything, knows how to get about. Kind of all in his head, you know. So, and he knows how to talk to actors. So sometimes you have to know how to pass on like the actors and the actors want. By all.
Great question, because I really like to listen
wonderful director to work with. He just trusted you. He said, he made you feel very free to do anything. And he, along with Michael J. Fox, made it a very special and pleasurable experience.
I love that.
And I was thinking he in combination with Dean Cundy, who's one of the greatest cinematographers on the planet, whoever was or will be. But Bob Zemeckis was so specific, and he, like what Jimmy said, he had it already in his head, because he would say, look there, then look there, then look there. And we would do what he said, but not realize that when you see it on the screen, he's a genius.
So Claudia, would you say that he was almost editing the movie in his head as you guys were shooting the film?
I'm sure. Please keep me always whatever they say. This part is not enough. So he's really editing choices.
I actually am so glad we answered that first, because I was going to say I can't even imagine trying to think about what's going on in his head. He's just, I wouldn't even be able to guess. I mean, they did edit Back to the Future 2 and 3 while they were shooting it. And they also edited Back to the Future 1, like, I think as it was being reshot. I forgot the question.
No, you answered it. You're good. Just editing.
Do you think that Bob Zemeckis was editing in his head while they were filming?
How could anybody possibly know what's going on in another man's head?
I feel like I'm a slacker for asking that question.
You got good questions.
Oh, thank you. The other, on paper, when you're reading the script, this is a movie that a lot of people, it's a possibility it couldn't work when you're reading the script. But seeing it on screen, it is the perfect movie. So what was your first reaction when you read the script for Back to the Future?
I don't know. It was just such a concept. There's just one thing that I had my doubts about. That is the original script, or the script that I first read. They go the whole ghost to the flats, and that was all the first atomic bomb. You know? And I just thought the association with that whole episode might have been a bit negative, you know. But I was really
I wasn't allowed to read the script until after I got the part, and I only had one audition.
Really?
For Steven Spielberg, Neil Canton, Bob Zemeckis, Ben Feinberg, Kathleen Kennedy, and Frank Marshall, and then more casting directors. And a guy auditioned for Marty on his 11th callback. So I got the part when Eric Stoltz was cast, who I actually already knew from acting class. And my audition scene was Lorraine and Marty in the car, and she's smoking and drinking. And so I didn't know what the story was. I didn't really know what part. I thought I was trying out for the girlfriend. And Bob wouldn't say anything now that when I asked him. And I asked Bob Gale why I was doing that scene. I said, did I audition for Lorraine or Jennifer? And he said, after me. But when I got the script, we had to promise not to tell anybody the story, not even family members. And Bob Gale told me that there was a yellow, like a sheet on each page of the script, of each script that was handed out. And if we ever Xeroxed it, you all can explain to your kids what Xerox means. That a number would flash on the page, and that number would correlate with who they gave the script to. And I was telling that story, and Bob Gale was up there, and he goes, and you believed that?
That wasn't true?
No, and I believed it until about 4 years ago.
I would believe it too.
Jimmy,
What did you think of the script when you first read it?
I wasn't sure. I don't think anybody was sure. But the script spoke for itself. I mean, I'm going to say something. You know, I haven't had these kind of bright lights in my face since I was interrogated for trying to be an actor.
I want to talk about, because we know that Eric Stoltz originally got the role, but Michael J. Fox really made the role of him. And I feel that, like you said, maybe this was a sign from God, because everything fell into place after that. Can you all talk about working with Michael on this film? Because he was also shooting Family Ties at the same time. You have to go back and forth. I couldn't imagine that working. Can you talk about working with Michael in the film? Working with Michael?
How was it working with Michael as opposed to Eric and also when he was doing his other show at the same time?
When Eric Stoltz, I wasn't really feel, I didn't notice it. He's a good actor, and he was good. You know, I didn't have any sense that there was a problem. You know, and then I came to realize what I heard was that they needed somebody with a bit of a top touch. There. And Eric Stoltz was not that abusing by nature. That's saying wrong, so it was so Michael came in and the feeling about it, I remember, because I never met Michael, I hadn't really seen, I heard of his work, but it just, chemistry was right there for the first time. It doesn't go through. You know, so that was cool.
Was cool.
this is on right.
How was it working with Eric Stoltz and then changing and working with Michael?
It was quite surprising. I remember in the dressing room, Eric Stoltz was in makeup up. He said, well, they can't fire me now. And that day, he was dismissed. And Fox came in. But it all worked out very well. And I know that Eric Stoltz still has a very good rapport back to the future with the entire people involved.
Okay. I worked with Eric when we did girlfriend-boyfriend pictures at the back lot. Some of them are online. And then a pilot I had done for ABC with Ed Asner and Eileen Brennan got picked up to be a mid-season replacement at the same time that I was supposed to be Jennifer with Eric Stoltz. And they wouldn't share me. And Ed Asner was like, let the kid do a Spielberg movie. We're just sitting around eating bagels. It was a three-camera show in front of an audience, so basically we got over and then work hard in front of me. But they wouldn't, so I had to tell them I couldn't be Jennifer, and they recast my part. Then I did the show with Adam and the girl they recast my part with, she and I were very strong competitors for years. She'd get a part on, she'd get a part on. And she's 5'7" or 5'6.5", and Michael's 5'4". And I used to be 5'3¾". I think I'm about 5'2" now. So I was available, and I got my part back. So that's kind of cool.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, bringing you back to some of your fondest memories, what's a memory of working on Back to the Future that still makes you smile?
What makes you smile when you think about something you did on Back to the Future?
think it's pretty cool that so many lines that you said are said all over the world, including by presidents, and the whole great Scott, 1 point something gigawatts. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that a lot. 1.21 gigawatts.
That's it.
When you think about Back to the Future and you're filming it, is there anything that you specifically smile about when you're thinking about it?
Well, there was something about working with Michael J. Fox that made you smile because he made the whole business of acting feel kind of free, and you never felt inhibited. You felt the freedom, and it was just a special experience. And I think that had a lot to do with Michael J. Fox, who was so very easy to work with.
He is so easy. He's positive, he's kind, he's super brilliant, he's funny, and it's just very relaxing. But when I think about Back to the Future, what makes me smile is things like this, and meeting people all over the world who are kind and loving and smart and terrific, and still getting to hang out with these two amazing legends. I mean, that makes me smile. And none of it would have happened if we hadn't done Back to the Future.
No. Yeah, let's hear it for that. So many generations are still discovering the film, and it's an instant classic. It was an instant classic when it came out as well. Has your perspective on Back to the Future changed throughout the years from when you shot the movie to where it is now?
From when you filmed the movie to where it is now, has your perspective changed? Like anything about Back to the Future? From way back then?
No, I don't feel that. I feel it was a very powerful story, and it had a lot of energy. It really got your imagination going, and it's a fun ride. And then that has changed. It's it's probably accelerated. So it's cool.
I think it's really fun when I'm home with my babies. I have a doggy and 2 kitty cats that are my babies. And I have a 30-year-old true baby, my son. But I'll just be minding my own business watching something on TV, and all of a sudden I'll see a reference to Back to the Future. And that happens a lot. And that's so cool. I'm like, that's my favorite show they just mentioned. My name, or Chris, or, something has to be Back to the Future.
Perspective,
When you did Back to the Future to now, has your perception of it changed? Or your perspective of it changed?
Over these last 40 years, of course, your perspective must change, and it's all for the positive.
I love that.
Oh, yes, that's what I was going to say. I'm humbled and grateful every single day to be part of the Back to the Future family.
That's great. That's amazing. And specifically for you, Doc Brown has some unmatched energy. Where did that energy come from when you were developing the character of Doc Brown?
It was kind of in the writing. But Doc Brown, everything that happens involves him in the story is urgent. Everything is an emergency. If he makes a mistake, the entire, the entire space-time continuum will collapse. If he makes a mistake, or if Marty, God forbid, doesn't do things right, the space-time continuum will collapse, and all of us
Jennifer Parker in Back to the Future 2 and 3 because Marty made changes when he was warned by Doc not to do anything, and then Jennifer's mom or dad met a different mom or dad and had Elizabeth Shue.
Well, Claudia, you got to reprise the role of Jennifer for the video game. Can you talk about stepping back into the role for that?
I loved it. Chris and I were the only two actual cast members, but I just heard the other day that Michael J. Fox made a cameo. And you know, it was amazing. After all those years, it came back to me like nothing. It was like I had just been Jennifer that morning. It was so easy. And what was very cool was Jennifer is a different transition to Jennifer. She's like a little tough and a little rock and roll punk and likes someone else. And I didn't play the game because I don't know how to use a computer, but that's what the script said. So I was just grateful, really grateful.
That's incredible. James, you played Principal Strickland, and I think that you were cast perfectly in that role. Is there anybody you kind of based that performance on, or is that all natural?
When you played Mr. Strickland and you were perfect in it, did you base your character on a person, or was it just because you're such a brilliant actor?
No, when I was in the 5th or 6th grade, I had a teacher called Miss Canute, and if anyone misbehaved, she would call you up in front of the class, you held your hand up, and she swatted you with a ruler in the palm of your hand, and if you took your hand away, she cracked you right across the face, and she was my model for Mr. Strickland.
Wow, that is intense. That's absolutely intense. Look, if you guys had a DeLorean in real life, what time period would you go to?
I tend not to go that far in my mind. Maybe 50 years into the future, only because I like to see how situations today get resolved. You know, where does climate change go? The resistance to it, the people who feel we've got it, you know, all these issues that today, you know, take up by force. I like to go back 50 years, see where we're at.
So 50 years into the future is where Christopher's going. What about you, Claudia?
Such a great answer.
Yeah, great answer.
I love that. I've learned so much today. I will, no matter what, every single time go and meet Jesus Christ in person, and I will leave the DeLorean where I can find it again in a few years, and I will just follow it.
So you're going 3,000 years in the past.
I'm going to meet the human God, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there you go. That's great.
If you were in a DeLorean, where would you go? And when?
I think I would go back to about the 1920s. I think it was very interesting back then. And that's about as far back as I would go. And who knows what the future would bring.
And Christopher, one of the most iconic scenes in cinematic history is the clock tower scene. Can you talk about your memories of working on that scene in particular?
When you do the clock tower scene with the car and the big look down, do you have any special memories of that?
Well, in a way, before we started shooting, I think I had an appointment with Bob's Electrics at Anaheim, on a studio there. And by myself, I went to the building with a clock tower. I went up the stairs to a window where the script, I stand in the window or something like that. Whatever. So that said I would sit down on a windowsill and stuff like that. And then this was leaving the office, and I don't think he knew I was still there. And he left me, and I heard him say, "You're going to fly away."
That's
Such a
okay. Interestingly enough, a very dear friend of mine who recently passed away, Bob Yerkes. He was a stunt double, one of the greatest for 80 years. Bob Yerkes, my friend, was you going down the cord thing from up there to down there. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a kind of, it wasn't that hard.
No, he ran away when he was, I think, 14, and he was one of the guys in Venice Beach that would do when people are stacked up on top of each other, like 8 high. He was probably well, it was 40 years ago, and he was like, yeah, he was probably about 40.
I remember talking to Chad once about the hassle of his work that he told me years before. He was in some movie, and there was a big flag pole that they put up on the statue of Liberty and all that. And there was a part where he would go over on the road, and he said the only thing we were worried about is that he would snap.
That's a big thing to worry about. He showed me pictures of what you're talking about right now. There was a man and a woman who were standing, if it's the same thing, at the very, very top of this very, very steep, very, very tall building. You could see like the whole world underneath. He was extraordinary. He was the stunt double for Arnold, Chris, and like, you got to look him up. Bob Yerkes, Yerkes.
Claudia, you mentioned earlier that you auditioned in front of some of these incredible icons of Hollywood. We're talking Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy. Those are all heavyweights.
Neil Cameron.
That's incredible. Can you describe what it was like auditioning for in front of all those people?
Okay, so I'm a people person. A lot of actors don't like auditions, but for me, I do, because I get to meet people. And you can feel who's in your corner, and somehow I walked in that room and I just felt like they were all in my corner. I had just, in the last few months, not gotten the starring role in Gremlins. The other girl got it. Goonies. The other girl got it. Young Sherlock Holmes. The other girl got it. So I think that they were sick of me trying to get in their movies, and they figured out I better cast her because she's not going to win. But it was really fun. Steven Spielberg talked to me the whole time, and he would ask me these questions, and I would say to him, it was almost like no one else was in the room except Steven Spielberg and me, the way we communicated. He kicked out the cameraman because there was a film camera on a tripod, and he said, I can't have a cameraman when I'm here. And the guy was like, really? And he goes, out. So he's filming this whole thing, asking me, do you smoke, do you have a boyfriend? And everything I said, I prefaced it with, I'll tell you, but you cannot tell my mom, and you have to promise me. And so then I literally was in those number of people. And he and I we talked for 2.5 hours, including the many times that we did the scene, and he had me go out with the guy and tell him, speed it up a little bit, different things. And at the time I did smoke. And so I think that's why he asked me that. So I pulled cigarettes, he wanted me to pull the cigarettes out and literally smoke in that scene and blow it in the guy's face like Marty. And that Marty guy ended up being the drummer in the Pinheads band that Mike auditioned for. It was just lots and lots of fun. I was a little more nervous about an audition I had that afternoon for a commercial callback. because I didn't get commercials as often as I got Star Wars and TV shows. So I was hoping to get the commercial. I did not get the commercial, but I got the show.
It worked out all right.
It worked out great.
It worked out pretty good. Did any of you guys keep anything from set while working on Back to the Future? Huh?
I have a shirt, kind of a Hawaiian looking shirt that I wore a lot. And it hangs in my closet.
Still?
And my wife Lisa hopes I leave it there. Lisa hopes I leave it in the closet.
I do too. That's going to be your future generations to buy houses for the rest of their lives. That shirt's worth a fortune.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
He's gonna put it on eBay tomorrow. Did you keep anything?
Okay, so I didn't keep anything, but I do have the original Bogtown flyer. I did not steal one from the set. I was given one. And so I get to sign the I love you, 555423, all of them. And I always do two for the price of one, so you can frame it front and back because it was my handwriting. So actually what makes me smile is my handwriting filled up the entire screen. That was cool.
Did you keep
I know this isn't a Back to the Future question, but you worked on one of my favorite movies of all time, Top Gun. Can you talk about working with Tom Cruise on Top Gun?
Top Gun? Talk about working with Tom Cruise on Top Gun. And then I'm going to ask you another question. Top Gun working with, what's his name?
Tom Cruise?
Yeah, in Top Gun.
Well, Tom Cruise was the only actor of all those young actors who was totally professional. All the other guys were up every night having a party. He got to the set and he was absolutely professional, and he was very young in his career at that time. And he did his job, and it was very impressive.
Great question. That was a great answer.
That was a fantastic answer.
Okay, Jimmy, tell them the story of that really good line about Jackson Eagle. Tell them about that.
I talked to one of the officers. I said, when these guys screw up, how do you talk to them? What do you say? And he said, here's what happened recently. I called the guy in. He said,
You're writing checks that you're writing.
he said, he told the actor, he said, look, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash. You're going to fly yourself right into a box. And I put that line into the movie. They wouldn't let me say, fly yourself right into a box. But I'm proud of that.
I am too.
That's awesome. That's incredible. Listen, Mr. Christopher Lloyd, this is also not a Back to the Future question, but I have to ask. The groundbreaking film, little movie called Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I beg to say that is one of the greatest films of all time, especially Warner Brothers and Disney working together, which I don't really think has been done since. Can you talk about your experience on Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Your experience on Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I was always, they had an actor, comedian, I think was the name of the role, and he was dressed up kind of loosely, like a crazy kind of rabbit, and he smoked the lines, so he was always there being a rabbit, and his costume would, and he made up a kind of rabbit voice, some kind of thing. So he was all right when we had to speak to
Awesome. awesome. But let me ask you now, this is gonna be the last question of the panel, but now that Back to the Future has been around for the last 40 years, what does it mean to you to see all of these folks dedicated to the franchise, and seeing them cosplay and show up as your characters?
I think it's amazing. 40 years ago, like I said, we just hope we have a good old day, and a good run, etc. But the show just keeps going on. It's infectious.
Like contagion.
Yeah.
Are you yet?
Yeah, I think so. I'm done.
Okay, so there's a baby today named Lily who's dressed just like Jennifer Parker, and they even bought her a jean jacket and cut the sleeves in order to have her just like Jennifer Parker, except she's like, I don't know, 9 months old. And she's not the first Jennifer Parker baby I've met.
You said she's not.
And which is amazing. Oh, and I've met itty-bitty Martys that are babies. And Chris and I did a signing in Japan. I wanted to use the restroom, and I knew the park car. And I walked outside, and there were I don't even know, 40 Japanese Jennifer Parkers. And when they saw me, I'm just trying to walk across, all the cameras are up. And then 2 of them start crying, like sobbing. And so I'm hugging them, and they're crying so hard that we end up cuddled on the floor, and then around us are all these Jennifer Parkers, and I think they're Martys also, and of course they're dogs. And they're all on the flashes, and I just thought, this is extraordinary to have something that allows us to be a part of other people's lives